that tail number 3-4?
Lock radar on the lead aircraft. Let's see what they're planning.
4:11 hours, November 10th, 2025, Black Sea. The roar hit first, a sharp, angry rumble overhead, low, fast, too close. On board the USS Roosevelt DDG-80, sailors felt it before they saw it. Vibrations through steel, a shudder in the deck plates. The early warning sensors blinked red. Aircraft inbound, bearing 065, altitude low, speed high. Then the silhouette appeared, black against pre-dawn sky. A Russian Su-30SM. It cut across the destroyer's bow in a steep dive. Afterburners blazing blue. Wingtips barely 150 feet above the water. 4:12 hours. The bridge went silent. Just the hum of electronics and the harsh screech of radar warnings. The Su-30 pulled up, banked hard, and rolled inverted, directly over the U.S. deck. A mocking show of dominance. "Maintain course," the captain ordered, his voice sharp, clipped, no panic, no hesitation. The pilot wasn't alone. Radar picked up 2 more contacts. Fast, aggressive, Russian jets approaching in a pincer pattern. 4:13 hours. The Roosevelt's SPY-1 radar tracked all 3 aircraft. Fire control systems fed trajectories to Aegis. Phalanx CIWS came alive, turret rotating with a mechanical whine. Gunners watched the sky, fingers hovering inches above controls. Weapons ready, safety on. The first Su-30 dove again, this time closer, too close. The captain gripped the rail with both hands. "Record every maneuver, every frequency, every second." 4:14 hours. Then the radio crackled to life, a thick Russian accent, cold, deliberate. "U.S. warship, you are entering a Russian security zone. Leave immediately." The XO responded with equal calm. "Negative, operating in international waters." The Russian pilot didn't reply with words. He replied with motion. The Su-30 pitched nose down, tearing across the destroyer's deck so low that sailors ducked instinctively. 4:15 hours. Inside the Combat Information Center, alarms flashed. The electronic warfare console lit up bright yellow. "Active radar lock detected. Hostile targeting signature. Fire control radar." The Russians had switched from harassment to direct threat. The captain's jaw tightened. Weapons hold. Defensive posture only. He couldn't fire first, but he could be ready. 4:16 hours. 2 Su-30s broke formation. One circled wide to starboard. The other slid dangerously close along port side. Their flight paths boxed the destroyer in. No escape lane in the sky. On deck, sailors moved with tight precision. Camera teams recorded every pass. Angles, altitudes, distance. Evidence for Washington. Evidence for Moscow too. The Russian jets buzzed the ship again, this time with full afterburner. A shockwave slammed the Roosevelt's hull. 4:17 hours. The captain's voice cut through tension. "Raise communications priority. Alert 6th Fleet." A flash signal transmitted across encrypted channel. Key phrase, "Unsafe aerial intercept, Black Sea." Seconds later, confirmation. 6th Fleet acknowledged. Nearby NATO surveillance aircraft alerted. Fast response assets prepared. But the Russians weren't waiting. 4:18 hours. 1 Su-30 climbed sharply, then dived straight at the ship. Its nose pointed directly at the bridge windows. Altitude dropping fast. "Impact warning. Collision course!" Sailors braced. The jet tore upward at the last possible second. Its engine roar shook the entire ship. 4:19 hours. The U.S. destroyer's ANSLQ-32EW system caught a new signal. A spike, a digital stinger. Russian aircraft running active jamming. Comms glitched. Radar screens flickered. The EW officer shouted over the chaos. Jamming source confirmed. Hostile. Locking frequencies. The Roosevelt countered instantly. Backup encryption activated. Satellite link rerouted. System stabilized. The Russians had tested U.S. defenses and found them ready. 4:20 hours. A 4th contact appeared on radar. Low altitude. Slow. Different shape. Ilgoksrin surveillance aircraft inbound. A Russian intelligence gathering plane. Long-range sensors. Electronic listening systems. A flying spy platform. The harassment wasn't random. It was coordinated. A full Russian intercept mission. 4:21 hours. The captain stepped closer to the glass. His eyes tracked the jets looping overhead. Their afterburners carved blue arcs across the dawn. Log everything. Forward raw data to Naples. Full spectrum analysis. Below deck, the CIC team complied without hesitation. Every radar tone, every flight path, every electronic pulse. Captured. 4:22 hours. The Su-30 circling port side made its boldest move. It dropped low, so low the tail nearly skimmed the water, then angled sideways, wings tilted, passing within 30 yards of the U.S. destroyer. A deliberate near-collision stunt, designed to provoke, to intimidate. The captain clenched his fists. This is reckless. Document the exact distance, the operations officer spoke, voice tight.
Record shows 28 meters, sir. 28 meters. Less than a second from disaster.
4:23 hours. Then, without warning, missile lock tone, another spike on the radar, but not from the destroyer, from above, from the jets.
Sir, fire control radar from the Su-30.
A targeting lock, a mock strike, an open threat. The XO stared at the display.
Sir, this is the highest level of escalation before weapon release.
The captain didn't look away from the window, his voice quiet, steady. Maintain course. Do not blink for 24 hours. The jet screamed overhead again, its engines roaring like thunder, hungry, predatory, but far above, across the sky. Another sound emerged, a deeper roar, a familiar one, approaching fast. Friendly aircraft. American response. The Russians didn't know it yet, but help was coming, and the next minute would change everything. 4:24 hours. Black Sea. The air trembled with the roar of jet engines. 3 Russian Su-30 SMS circled the USS Roosevelt like wolves. A slow, taunting orbit. Closer, tighter, more aggressive by the second. But then, a new sound broke through the chaos. Deep, steady, powerful. A sound Russian pilots feared. 4:25 hours. The EW officer confirmed it first. Friendly contacts inbound. High speed. Bearing 215 radar lit up with 2 blue icons racing across the screen. Altitude high. Speed scorching. F-16S. NATO. Scrambled from Romania, running full afterburner across the Black Sea. The Russian jets didn't see them yet. Not visually, but NATO pilots had them locked. Every Su-30 on the radar picture had a missile solution. The Roosevelt's captain spoke quietly. Maintain defensive posture. Do not provoke. Let NATO intercept 4:26 hours. The Su-30 directly above the destroyer suddenly banked hard. Its pilot must have picked up the new radar energy. A clean, predatory NATO lock. He climbed, fast. The other 2 jets peeled away in a wide arc, engines flaring hot. No more inverted passes, no more mocking dives, just controlled panic in the sky. But the Russians weren't done. Not yet. 4:27 hours. The Il-20 intelligence aircraft approached the scene, slow and heavy. It began dumping electronic noise, scrambling radar returns, jamming frequencies. The Roosevelt's EW suite registered spikes again. Jamming intensifying. Switch to encrypted narrowband. The ship's systems held, barely, but the message was clear. Russia wanted confusion. They wanted chaos. The captain stared at the looming Il-20 silhouette. They're gathering every bite of our response profile. 4:28 hours. The F-16s arrived at full speed. They roared past the Russian jets in a supersonic pass. A shockwave thundered across the waves, slapping the water into white streaks. A clear warning. Russian pilots broke formation instantly. They climbed sharply, moving away from the destroyer. NATO radios crackled clear and loud now. Roosevelt, we have visual. You are covered. Relief washed through the CIC, but the Russians still had the Il-20 in the zone. That aircraft wasn't leaving. It was here to collect intelligence and provoke indirectly. 4:29 hours. The Su-30s regrouped at higher altitude. Their formation changed, looser but still aggressive. One jet hung at 10,000 feet, another circled wide. The third lurked behind the Il-20, a classic Russian harassment screen. Inside the CIC, tensions remained razor-sharp. Fire control radars were still active. Targeting locks flickered in and out.
Sir, they're still locking us.
Maintain discipline, no retaliation. 4:30 hours. Then came the most dangerous moment. One Su-30 dropped altitude again. Too fast, too low. He rolled onto his side, wingtip nearly touching the Black Sea surface, and aimed directly toward the U.S. destroyer. His nose pointed straight at the Roosevelt's bridge windows. Targeting radar tone spiked. Fire control lock. The XO whispered, "Sir, he's simulating a strike run." The captain's eyes narrowed. Phalanx to active tracking, no fire. The Phalanx CIWS turret rotated smoothly, following the jet. The Russian pilot saw the gunlock. He pulled up sharply. G-forces ripped through the jet. A trail of vapor cut behind him. He'd pushed too far. 4:31 hours. NATO F-16s moved in. Fast, precise, predatory grace. They slid into position behind the Russian jets. Perfect tailing angle. Missile solutions locked. A clear message: leave now. The Russian pilots understood. No bravado could hide the fact they were now outmatched, outnumbered, outpositioned. 4:33 hours. The Il-20 began turning away, slowly, deliberately, its massive wings banking across the dawn sky. But its sensors had already captured everything. Every radar pulse from the Roosevelt, every jamming counter, every defensive posture. This had been an intelligence operation disguised as harassment. 4:35 hours. Russian comms broke the silence. A short transmission. Cold, controlled, a face-saving exit. U.S. warship, reduce speed and maintain safe distance. Russian air patrol complete. It wasn't a warning. It was a retreat masked as superiority. The captain didn't respond. He didn't need to. His actions spoke louder than words. 4:37 hours. The Su-30S ascended in tight formation, climbing into the morning light. Their engines roared one last time, then faded. The Il-20 followed them north, droning toward Crimea. The Black Sea fell quiet again. Only the low hum of the destroyer's engines remained. 4:40 hours. NATO F-16s circled once more, then transmitted,
Roosevelt, area clear, returning to base.
The Roosevelt's crew finally allowed themselves to breathe. Hands unclenched, voices eased, shoulders dropped. But the captain stood still at the bridge window, staring at the horizon. Eyes steady, expression hard. He knew something the others didn't say out loud. This wasn't the end. It was the beginning. 4:43 hours. The destroyer's log recorded the final entries. Unsafe aerial intercept by Russian Su-30S. Active jamming. Fire control lock. No shots fired. Mission safety maintained. A textbook confrontation, kept just below the threshold of combat. The thin line between deterrence and war, held for another day. 05 hours. The USS Roosevelt resumed course through the Black Sea. Its radar swept clear skies. Its engines hummed steadily. But the tension remained. Because both sides knew the truth. Next time, the distance between warning and weapon might be only seconds.